This is King Judah 23 of the Judahlyfe podcast, and you watching the Empire Network.
Dizzle beats, that's a vibe.
5 a.m. A cookout restaurant in northwest Charlotte. 5 gunshots shatter the silence. On the floor lies 26-year-old Judahlyfe Horn, a mother of a 5-year-old boy, bleeding out as her co-workers hide in the bathroom, terrified and helpless. And who was the shooter? Her co-worker. Someone she sang with during late-night shifts, someone she offered rides home, someone with no criminal record, no history of violence. And the reason? A dirty pan. A disagreement over who should clean a pan at the end of a closing shift ended with a young mother dead and a 20-year-old facing prison. This wasn't domestic violence. This wasn't a robbery. No drugs. No jealousy. Just 2 ordinary people at the end of a long shift arguing about cleaning duties. How does a simple workplace argument turn into murder in seconds? Why did Malik Crosby bring a gun to work that night? And what pushed him to pull the trigger 5 times over something so small? Hard-working, reliable, friendly. But in less than 60 seconds, everything changed. And what happened next would leave a family destroyed, a community in shock, and a courtroom stunned by an act of forgiveness that no one saw coming. Judahlyfe Horn was 26 years old when she died. But she was so much more than just another name in a news report. She was a mother, a daughter, a hairstylist, a provider, and to everyone who knew her, she was someone special. Judahlyfe woke up every single morning with one goal in mind, taking care of her 5-year-old son. Her father, John Horn, said it best, "She was an excellent provider. That's my firstborn." Being a single mother isn't easy. The bills pile up. The hours are long, the pressure never stops. But Judahlyfe never complained. She never let her son see her struggle. She just worked, and worked, and worked some more. Her family said she loved to work. She worked a lot of hours because she wanted her son to have everything he needed: stability, security, a future. But Judahlyfe wasn't just grinding at a fast food job. She had dreams, she had talent, and she was building something of her own. On the side, Judahlyfe ran a hair business called Beauty by Jay. She specialized in braids, locks, and sew-ins. Her social media pages were filled with photos of satisfied clients showing off their beautiful styles. She was good at what she did, and her client list kept growing. This wasn't just about extra money. This was her passion, her creativity, her way of building something that belonged to her. 5 months before her death, Judahlyfe took the job at the cookout restaurant on Sunset Road. The late-night shifts were tough, but the steady paycheck helped support her son and her business. She showed up, she did the work, and she brought positive energy with her. Pa Hayes worked with Judahlyfe for just 1 month, but he remembered her clearly. He said she would sing during their shifts to make the time go by faster. She offered rides home to co-workers who needed them. She was cool. She was loving. She cared about the people around her. "In my eyes, she couldn't do nothing wrong," Hayes said. Ace Bryant, another co-worker who had worked with Judahlyfe for several months, said the same thing. Everyone liked her. She fit right in with the crew. The 5 employees who worked the overnight shifts at Cookout weren't just co-workers. They considered each other family. They spent long hours together in that restaurant, joking around, helping each other get through the night, looking out for one another. Judahlyfe was part of that family. Kershaw McNair, who also worked at the Cookout, said, "Both of them was really great people." She was talking about Judahlyfe and Malik. 2 good people who got along. 2 people no one ever expected to be involved in something like this. Judahlyfe Horn was building a life. She was raising her son, she was growing her business, she was showing up for her co-workers. She was doing everything right. and in less than a minute, it was all taken away. Now let's talk about Malik Crosby. At 20 years old, Malik seemed like any other young guy trying to make his way. He had a job, he showed up for his shifts, he did his work, and by all accounts, he was reliable. No criminal record, no history of violence, no trouble with the law, nothing that would make anyone think he was capable of what he was about to do. Malik wasn't some troublemaker. He wasn't known for having a temper. Management never had issues with him. His co-workers never felt unsafe around him. There were no red flags, no warning signs, nothing. He was just a regular employee doing a regular job. Ace Bryant worked with both Jaslyn and Malik for several months. He remembered that night clearly. Everybody was in a good mood that night, he said. I would have never expected to wake up to this. That's what makes this case so disturbing. This wasn't a situation where people looked back and said, yeah, we saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming, not even close. Malik and Jaslyn worked together. They got along. They were part of the same tight-knit crew that considered each other family. There was no bad blood between them, no ongoing feud, no personal drama. So what changed that night? How does someone with no history of violence pull out a gun and fire 5 shots at a co-worker over a cleaning disagreement? What was going through Malik's mind in those final seconds before he pulled the trigger? And why did he bring a gun to work in the first place when the restaurant had a strict no weapons policy? These are the questions that haunted investigators, shocked the community, and left everyone asking the same thing. How did this happen? The night of March 16th into the early morning of March 17th, 2024, started like any other shift at the Cookout restaurant on Sunset Road near Beatty's Ford Road in Northwest Charlotte. The Cookout operates 24 hours a day, serving customers around the clock. The overnight shift is always the hardest. Fewer customers, longer hours. The exhaustion hits different when the sun hasn't come up yet. But the 5 employees working that night had each other. They had developed a bond that went beyond just being co-workers. One employee later told detectives, "We all worked together so much we practically considered each other family." That's what made the late shifts bearable. The jokes, the conversations, the way they looked out for each other. It wasn't just a job, it was a crew. Ace Bryant remembered the mood that night clearly. Everybody was in a good mood that night, he said. I would have never expected to wake up to this. The atmosphere was light. There was the usual banter and back and forth that happens when people spend hours together in a restaurant. Nothing felt off. Nothing felt dangerous. The Cookout had a strict no weapons policy. No employee was supposed to be carrying a firearm. It was a clear rule, but like many workplace policies, it relied on trust. There were no metal detectors, no bag checks, just an expectation that people would follow the rules. That policy would prove completely useless. By 4:30 a.m., the kitchen had closed. The last customers had been served. Now it was just cleanup time. The 5 employees began their closing duties. Floors needed mopping, counters needed wiping down, food had to be stored properly, equipment had to be cleaned and put away. It was the same routine they did every night. This is when the tension started. According to court documents, Jaslyn and Malik had been arguing throughout the day about cleaning responsibilities. Who would clean what? Who would finish their assigned tasks? Small disagreements that usually fade away by the end of a shift. But this time the argument didn't fade, it kept building. At first, it was quiet.
My granddaughter on the same day. Tragedy, they were murdered. They didn't die in a car accident. They didn't have diseases. It was carbon dioxide poisoning. They died. My daughter died by the hands of a man who she's married.
Inside a quiet Catonsville, Maryland home, police discovered a scene of unspeakable horror. 42-year-old Chantel Judahlyfe had been tortured to death. Her daughter Kimana had been shot and killed, and the man responsible, Mustafa Judahlyfe, Chantel's husband and Kimana's father, who took his own life after destroying his family. But here's what makes this case even more tragic. Just 10 days before her murder, Chantel had filed for divorce. She was a registered nurse who had just graduated from Stevenson University. She was building a new life for herself and her daughter. She was finally ready to leave. And that's exactly when he killed her. So the question becomes, what happens when the most dangerous decision a woman can make is choosing to walk away? She was a woman who refused to give up no matter how hard life became. While enduring years of abuse behind closed doors, Chantel was fighting to build a better life for herself and her daughter. In 2024, after grinding through sleepless nights and pushing through stress that would have broken most people, Chantel achieved something she had worked incredibly hard for. She graduated from Stevenson University with her registered nursing degree. This wasn't just a piece of paper to hang on the wall. This was her ticket to independence. This was her way out. This was proof that she could stand on her own 2 feet and provide for Kimana without depending on anyone. At work, Chantel was loved by everyone. Her co-workers adored her, her boss respected her deeply. She was the kind of nurse who genuinely cared about her patients, who showed up every day ready to help people, who brought warmth and kindness into the hospital. When Chantel didn't show up for work that Thursday morning, her co-workers immediately knew something was wrong. That's how reliable she was. That's how much they knew her character. After Chantel's death, Shirley went to her daughter's workplace. Her people, her job, her co-workers, her boss, everyone there loved her, and I cannot thank them enough for the love they poured out to me, Shirley said. The hugs, the conversations were just wonderful. But beyond being a dedicated nurse, Chantel was an incredible mother. She poured everything into raising Kimana. She protected her, she nurtured her. She wanted her daughter to have opportunities she might not have had herself. Shirley remembered watching Chantel with Kimana, the way she held her hand, the way she smiled at her, the way she made sure Kimana knew she was loved every single day.
Common, I stopped poisoning. They died. My daughter died.
Shirley's last memory of them together is one she replays over and over. The last thought I have of them is them leaving my house, telling me they loved me, giving me a hug, and walking down the steps holding hands, just smiling, Shirley shared. That image, mother and daughter, hand in hand, smiling, is now frozen in time. Chantel was loving, she was strong, she was determined. She had goals, and she was reaching them one by one. To the outside world, she looked like a woman who had it all together. A nursing degree, a job she loved, a beautiful daughter. But what people didn't see was the nightmare she was living at home. On September 11th, 2025, Shirley buried both her daughter and granddaughter. The funeral revealed just how many lives Chantel had touched. My daughter lived a good life, was 42 years old. She gave love and she got it back, Shirley said through her tears. Her legacy is one of love. I saw it with my own eyes from different directions, and people I haven't seen in years came out. New people came out. The hugs and the conversations about Chantel, conversations about Kimana, just made my heart feel like, wow, God gave me an amazing child to look over, an amazing granddaughter to look over as well. August 28th, 2025, started like any other Thursday in Catonsville, Maryland. The 7400 block of Wilton Farm Drive was a typical neighborhood. Townhouses lined up neatly, families going about their daily routines. But by the end of that day, this quiet street would become the scene of an unthinkable tragedy. That morning, Chantel Sharif didn't show up for work. Her co-workers at the hospital where she worked as a registered nurse started calling her phone. No answer. They sent text messages. Nothing. This wasn't like Chantel at all. She was dedicated, reliable, and loved her job. Her boss tried reaching her too. Still no response. Meanwhile, 6-year-old Kimana didn't show up for school. She had just started first grade and was excited about learning. But her seat sat empty that day. Shirley Naylor, Chantel's mother, was becoming frantic. She had been trying to reach her daughter all day. Call after call went straight to voicemail. Something was terribly wrong. Shirley knew Chantel was having serious problems with her husband, Mustafa. She had even warned her daughter just days earlier to get away from him. Now, with no one able to reach Chantel or Kimana, Shirley's worst fears were taking over. He called the police and asked them to do a welfare check.
I stopped poisoning. They died. My daughter died.
At 3:30 in the afternoon, officers were sent to the home on Wilton Farm Drive. Neighbor Ethan Streets was outside when he noticed police cars pulling up to one of the townhouses. He watched as officers approached the door and went inside. I looked back over. The doors open. The cops go in like 10 seconds later. Then, they come back out, Ethan later told reporters. What happened next told him something was very wrong. Then, like 12 more cop cars show up, and then they start putting crime scene tape up. Ethan saw a woman lying on her back in the driveway, crying. Her husband was holding her. Inside that home, police had found a nightmare. 42-year-old Chantel Sharieff was dead. Her body showed clear signs of trauma. She had been tortured. 6-year-old Kimana was also dead, killed by a gunshot wound. And 43-year-old Mustafa Sharieff, Chantel's husband and Kimana's father, was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. All three were pronounced dead at the scene. When detectives came to speak with Shirley the next day, they had to tell her something that no mother should ever hear. I found out yesterday when the detectives came to talk to me that wasn't the case, Shirley later said in a video message. Not only did he kill my daughter, he tortured her in ways that are unspeakable. To this day, investigators don't know exactly when the murders happened. Was it Wednesday night? Was it Thursday morning? The timeline remains unclear. What is clear is that Mustafa Sharieff killed his wife and daughter before taking his own life. Now let's talk about the little girl who lost her life alongside her mother. Kimana Sharieff was only 6 years old when her life was stolen from her. But in those 6 short years, she had already shown the world who she was becoming. Kimana was smart. She was funny. She was a high-achieving little girl who loved learning. In 2025, she had just started first grade, and she was excited about it. She was ready to make new friends, learn new things, and grow into the amazing person she was meant to be. But she never got that chance. Physically, Kimana took after her grandmother Shirley. She had the same petite frame, the same small body that carried a big personality. And feisty? That's the word Shirley used to describe her granddaughter. Kimana had spirit. She had fire. She wasn't afraid to be herself. One thing that stood out about Kimana was her willingness to help others, even when tasks were bigger than her, even when things seemed too hard for a little girl her size. Kimana would still try.
I'm yours. You can fuck me right. You can fuck me right now.
I can fuck you right now. I can fuck you right now.
Yes.
Show me.
Okay.
Show me.
Let's go.
Prove it to me.
Let's go.
Take your hand off the gun.
I will.
Take your hand off the gun.
But you have to pull my pants down.
Okay, take your hand off the gun.
Stop.
Take your hand off the gun.
Kareem. Stop. Hey.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't take your hand off the gun, you is going to get shot by me.
Parking lot.
January 30th, 2023. Those words came from Sergeant Cheryl Clark, a 15-year veteran of the MARTA police force. She's in a police parking lot while on duty, her hand on her service weapon, propositioning Cleveland Lambert. When he tries to leave, she fires 8 shots at him. 3 bullets strike him in the back as he's running away. The official story released to the public painted a clear picture. Lambert viciously attacked Officer Clark, beat her about the face and hands, tried to take her gun, and she fired in self-defense. But the body camera footage shows something completely different. A confrontation that ended with a man being shot while fleeing. A man who posed no threat at that moment. An audio that raises serious questions about what really happened in that parking lot. Despite everything being recorded, Cheryl Clark faces no criminal charges. Cleveland Lambert sits in jail, charged with assaulting a police officer in his left arm. Chronic pain that will follow him for the rest of his life. How does the victim become the criminal when everything is caught on camera? 6 months before that January night, Cleveland Lambert walked out of Georgia State Prison. At 38 years old, he had served his sentence and was starting over. Lambert moved in with his sister in East Atlanta. Every morning at 5 a.m., he took the MARTA train downtown, filling out job applications at construction sites, warehouses, anywhere that would hire someone with a criminal record. The responses were predictable. Background checks came back flagged. Positions had already been filled. We'll call you if something opens up. But Lambert kept showing up. He never missed a meeting with his parole officer. His drug tests came back clean. He was doing everything right. Eventually, he landed a job washing dishes at a restaurant near Peachtree. Minimum wage. Simple work. But it was honest money. And Lambert sent part of every paycheck back to his mother in Augusta. His parole officer noted his perfect attendance record. No violations, no issues. Lambert appeared to be successfully rebuilding his life. But there was something happening beneath the surface. Lambert started taking different routes home from work. Instead of the direct path through 5 Point Station, he detoured through West End, adding 20 minutes to his commute each way. When his sister asked why, Lambert said the crowds at 5 Points made him anxious. The real reason was Sergeant Cheryl Clark. Clark had been with MARTA Police for 15 years, multiple commendations for excellence, a clean service record on paper. She worked the Public Transit Patrol Division, and in October 2022, she requested a transfer to the night shift at 5 Point Station. This was MARTA's busiest line. Roughly 40,000 people passed through daily. Drug deals, assaults, occasional shootings. Most officers transferred out of 5 Points after 6 months. The stress was too much. Clark specifically asked to work there. According to records that would later surface, Clark and Lambert had been involved in some type of relationship. The exact nature and timeline remain unclear, but what is clear is that by January 2023, Lambert was avoiding her. He was taking longer routes home to stay away from 5 Point Station, where she worked. On the evening of January 30th, something brought them together again. At approximately 9 p.m., Lambert drove his Honda Civic to meet Clark. The location was near the MARTA headquarters. Security cameras captured his car entering the area. He parked and walked toward Clark's vehicle. What happened in the next few minutes would change both their lives forever. Clark's body camera was recording. According to MARTA policy, body cameras must be activated during any civilian contact. The footage from that night shows a confrontation between Clark and Lambert. There's a physical struggle. Clark is heard saying "stop" multiple times. But she's also heard propositioning Lambert, telling him he can have sex with her, telling him to pull her pants down while simultaneously keeping her hand on her service weapon. Lambert appears to be trying to keep Clark's hand away from her gun. The situation is chaotic, tense, and the audio is difficult to parse. But what happens next is crystal clear. Lambert breaks away. He runs back to his vehicle and gets inside. He starts the engine and begins to drive away. At this point, Lambert is leaving. He is no longer engaged in any physical confrontation with Clark. He is fleeing the scene. And that's when Clark opens fire. 8 shots. The first rounds strike near Lambert's vehicle. The next 3 hit him as he's driving away. 3 bullets enter his back. Lambert's car swerves. He's been hit, but he keeps driving. He makes it several blocks, before crashing at the intersection of Decatur and Bell Streets. Clark immediately gets on her radio.
Parking lot! Employee parking lot!
Officers respond within minutes. They find Lambert's crashed vehicle. He's injured, bleeding, but alive. The responding officers treat Clark as the victim. She tells them Lambert attacked her, beat her, tried to take her gun. She had no choice but to fire. Lambert is pulled from his vehicle and placed under arrest. He's transported to Grady Memorial Hospital with gunshot wounds. Clark is also taken to Grady, where she receives a CT scan and x-rays for injuries she sustained during the struggle with Lambert. The initial news reports frame the incident exactly as Clark described it. A dangerous ex-boyfriend attacked a female police officer. She defended herself. She shot him during the struggle. He fled and crashed. He was arrested. She was treated and released. Lambert is formally charged with aggravated assault on a police officer, battery, and attempting to disarm a law enforcement officer. These charges carry a potential sentence of up to 20 years in prison. He's held on a $200,000 bond, which he cannot afford to pay. Clark, meanwhile, is placed on paid administrative leave while the Georgia Bureau of Investigation conducts its review. This is standard procedure for any officer-involved shooting. She continues to receive her full salary of approximately $68,000 per year, while the